How does the system feel now? Are we at a good point to move forward?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for all who helped in getting us aligned right now. Is it okay that I call in the higher self right now and ask some questions?
Yes.
Okay. Higher self, I'd like to ask you to step in and help us with some questions that we have regarding Lemuria and any of our Lemurian soul family or brothers and sisters that are the collective that would like to come in as well to answer some questions that we have regarding it. Am I speaking with a higher self, or is this the Lemurian collective, or who am I speaking with?
Higher self is here.
Thank you, higher self. We appreciate you so much. We were wondering if the last time that we connected, Maja was feeling like the Lemurian energy that she was being provided the transmission didn't feel like it was of this planet. And we've all been told Lemurian was on Earth. Can you let us know, was the energy that she was connecting, was it on a planet, different planet, or was it here on Earth?
It was on a planet.
It was a planet. And is there a place, or was there a place in how we look at linear time? Was there a Lemuria here on Earth as well?
Yes.
Okay. And was she ever at the Earth Lemuria, or was she only on the planet Lemuria?
She visited both.
Was she at both around the same time, or were those different lifetimes?
It was different lifetimes.
Okay. And the planet Lemuria, is that where the people, why would you have two different places, one on Earth and one on a different planet? What can you tell me about the planet Lemuria? What was that like? Or is it still in existence?
So, okay. Well, if whatever I'm getting is there. So it seems that there was a little tiny planet with low energy, and it's more like of an energy planet and crystalline planet, and like a light, beautiful blue, all nice and shiny. And I think most of the Lemurians at one point decided to go and be on the freshly created new Earth, like Gaia. Like yeah, that was supposed to be New Earth, but it wasn't in the end. And like what I got is it didn't happen in one go, but I'm not sure. It doesn't feel. Maybe just asking for more clarification around if they're still there or not. The original Lemuria.
So was the original Lemurian planet, what dimension was that planet, or is that planet, if it still exists in?
So it might have been the 7th dimension.
A 7th dimension planet. So were did they even have bodies on that planet?
It was more like so everything was really like translucent, They were not very dense because it was different. So as far as I know, and I get it and I see it, is that like, they were not as dense as a human body.
Okay.
However, when they came to Earth, they did start to be a little bit more heavier, more dense.
Okay. Was Earth a third dimensional planet when they came here?
No, seems to be more like above fourth dimension. Yeah, so definitely was not third.
What was a typical day like what did Lemuria look like here on Earth? What did her typical day look like? What would she do?
So the only thing I was getting is I can they were getting used to the planet and getting to know it. They would communicate with the plant kingdom, and they would somehow program plants and flowers. They would talk to them. They would like create like they would know how to also create new species of plants, and also feels like they were changing the structures and the energies, and they were also doing that using crystals.
Mm. And how would they use the crystals? We had more questions um, about the crystals and how they use that in technology. We don't want you to unveil anything that would cause anything to this world but we just, how would they use the crystals? Like, give us an overview, I guess.
So the only thing I saw was when they were using them. They were just programming them with their minds, and there was somehow because they would see the world more energetical.
Mhm.
Then using the crystals as tools and amplificators, they would play with the matter around them. This is why, this and also relates to what I was saying before around the plants, like how they would on the freshly feel planet, they would still balance and experiment with plants and the ecosystem of the planet.
Thank you. I've also heard that they used crystals as like informational record holders. Is that correct? Or did they more or less harness the energy of the crystal?
What I got from this one was that actually all of the information, all the experiments, and all the knowledge would be stored into the crystals, and some of them they would be placed in different places, either to store them and keep them, or maybe to actually amplify that energy, and maybe was placed into certain energetical points, and then from there it will be transmitted to the earth grid as well and amplified in other places as well.
Okay.
So yeah, so I just see this placement. So this crystal that holds that information and being put into different locations, and then from there, like the whole energy would shoot up and connect to the web that was surrounding the earth. I think it's called earth grid, and yeah, and just like enforcing the earth grid and just having this web of information and balance and light. And basically, like if you think about the plants that and the trees that they form this beautiful web under the earth, they would use crystals as well to maintain the earth grid and information to flow around the planet. And maybe this is also how they would be able to transmit information to spread the information around the planet. And I don't know if there was maybe other species that would communicate with them like that.
Wow.
Yeah. And actually, this is me coming. I did hear at one point that people were communicating using trees. So what I was seeing with Lemurians is that they would use the plants and the trees and also plant crystals in them somehow. So maybe, yeah, that's a way of ensuring that some of the information that they were holding, some of that light and frequency was planted and grounded into the earth, the new earth. And I just have keep seeing this image of trees and flowers and beautiful Lemurians just planting little crystals around the leaves and the flowers and the trees in them and in the ground.
That's beautiful. It was like how we use the internet now, that
Yeah,
the trees and everything could create the same kind of conversation or communication worldwide.
yeah. And it's beautiful, which I'd never thought about or knew about, this beautiful symbiosis between crystals and the plant kingdom. And personally, for me, plants and trees have been a motive. Like I keep talking about them and having visualizations about them in the sessions. So I don't know if I was one of the people who were doing that or not, or yeah, or maybe actually they did. Oh, okay. Or maybe they did hold a very important role in maintaining the earth energy and grid, and also combined with crystals, the trees. They're very powerful conduct like energy sources or conductors, or yeah, they actually are more multidimensional than we I think.
Are we able to use the crystals now to do the same thing on Earth, or is the balance off? What are we able to do that here now?
There will be nothing that can stop us to do that and try it. And I think mm, the plants and the trees will be very happy to have that. Uh, it's really interesting because I thought that Lemurians work a lot with water, but maybe they work a lot with trees as well. And a lot of the times we think that we should have crystals into the water, but they can also be placed into the trees, in the ground. And maybe there's no coincidence that I've been drawn to by what they call to be an eighth dimensional technology of a magnet that you can use to plant trees to create a field. Uh, yeah, so there's already people who have this information and are doing it, and actually the Lemurians, they were doing it even in a more advanced way. And now I'm just seeing how we can and they're waiting and communicate through and with the trees.
What's the best way? Like, if we were to go out today, how could we communicate with a tree? Like, what would be the best way for us to connect to that space?
Right now, I'm seeing this in placing the hands, and especially the right hand on the tree trunk. And this also relates to the previous image where that was, I think, the original planet, where you have that center with there were just like some rocks and crystals, and there were like Lemurians with their hands sending information. And yeah, the idea is like, like we can actually do this with the trees, which is it's so beautiful. Yeah, they're so overlooked somehow. We hug them, we talk about them, but we don't use them as technology.
I know Native Americans here in America, you've heard of them using them as technology. They would tell you who had been on the path that you're on, or how long ago someone was there, or if an animal had been there, that they supposedly connected with the trees in that way. So were they handed down this information through the Lemurians?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow. You cannot imagine like how many chills I have right now in my body.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is there a connection with like America's Native Americans and the Lemurians?
I think like the moment you mentioned them, I would just see how they were how they were taught by Lemurians how to use them, how to talk with them.
Okay, we'll explore that more in a future session. But sorry, I'm making a quick note of that. Now, what we've heard of Agartha, which is inner earth. Did Lemurians go into inner earth that we have now?
Huh. So what I'm getting right now is that yes, and the idea was like, why would I think that there's only one civilization in the inner earth? Like if Lemurians could work with indigenous people, and generally speaking, there have been a lot of uh, species on Earth, and they were learning from each other. Why wouldn't in the inner Earth have more species that live together?
Right. So
Um,
it's not just Lemurians, it's
yeah.
other okay. Did they, is it a higher dimension on the inner earth than what we experience here on the outer earth?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a
What would you
more.
like, what kind of dimension would you call it in there?
So just what comes to me is seven. So although I don't necessarily know what that would mean, I
Okay.
definitely see it that it's not the same density.
Not the same density.
Yeah, they coexist somehow in the same space, but it's not the same space. The same way, we can see a body and we can see a light body. Like a body is a body that has certain uh, 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 like certain a body has like the skin that where it ends, but then an energetic body is more than that. And if you look it through a higher consciousness, which somehow this is like what dimension is, a higher dimension is just a different way of looking at the same things from multiple, like more like it's a higher consciousness that is there, observing it and being it. Yeah, then it has it's there, but it has its own bubble. She's like a
Yeah, I mean, it's its own frequency. Is that like kind of like it exists, but it doesn't exist like we would experience it out here. Like we can't
yeah,
even,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Um, now, why did the Lemurians go into inner earth?
So this is a combination of already their knowledge and what I got from it. So it seems that um hmm, so at the beginning I was seeing that sphere and also was seeing an and 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 if the higher self is sending me the information in the way that I'm assuming it does, is it connecting wherever I know with everything I need to know extra. So that will mean that somehow in those times, angst was used as a tool to work with energy. And um, so were the how were the Atlanteans? Were they more like darky blue?
Were they more
I
like what?
don't know. More, like how do they look? Do you know? I don't know, but I'm assuming that they were kind of misusing some of those tools and this created this really bad energy wave that kind of made everybody say that the outside of the earth is not necessarily for us anymore. So we're going to have our own little bubble inside the earth uh, because they were not the species that live there. They're not dependent on the sun, and so then like we human like can live by the sun. But then they were very happy to go there. And I just feel like there are different civilizations there, and one of the like there are some parts there that are like, I see this dark blue, greenish, like light there, and I see some parts that they have they have some vegetation. Also, I've seen some parts that are very crystal-like. Uh, yeah, depending on what's there.
Are they
There are some
happy?
places. Yeah,
They
yeah,
are. Because I, as you're talking about it, I can just feel this energy of like a community, like really living in symbiosis with one another. And just, I just feel it like a higher frequency than what we experience on Earth. So that's just why I asked that question.
yeah. They are, and I can also like sense now that there's also some buildings there, like some really great grand buildings. And there's also some areas that are more wild. And I don't know, maybe there's also like some. Do you think there's some Sasquatch there in the more wild areas? And I do feel like they're like I shouldn't know exactly what they are, but I feel like they're like um some beings that are like more small, and they they work with things that are more like vegetal. And then there are like some some beings that they live in this beautiful, like this beautiful central building that is, it's kind of like a pyramid, but it's not like a pyramid. But it has like big stairs somehow. Like it is it is it is pointy at the top, um, and it's beautiful. And also it's very interesting because it's a building that is built on something, but it's not like a dense ground, and like semi floaty.
Mm. Does it have a sun and a moon
Where?
on inner Earth? Is there a sun or a moon or anything they can, how do they have light?
No, no, because it's a different dimension. It's just like things are made out of light. Uh, I don't see that. I think like these things are glowing. Like always the when I get going there, like always the background is kind of dark, but the objects are light. I know. Was there any sun or moon in Avatar?
I'm not sure.
But you know,
I,
it's kind of like that. Is that dark background somehow? Like it's not necessarily blue. Like that was like a indigo blue or something. This is more like this is a lot of I see a lot of like crystalline lights. The building is more towards like gold brown lights, and I see the vegetation being more of a dark green.
mm,
Yeah, but sometimes just the light comes from just the things itself that are made of light. They have a different vibration. And definitely there are crystal formations from place to place. And somehow it feels like the background is dark and the things are light.
that
I
would
don't
make
know.
sense.
Yeah, like
Um,
that's why I love the sun and I love the earth.
yeah, that would make sense. Like,
They're happy there, but I do love the sun on the earth.
I'm glad they're happy there. Um, I know that you said that, well, let me back it up a little bit to Lemurians. Now I've heard that Lemurians were ran by more of the feminine energy, ran more by women. Is there truth to that? Or was it more of a balanced culture, or what can you tell me about that?
Mm. So honestly, I don't know how if they have a sex and if they reproduce, but mm, but they hold so much love in them and light and peace and harmony that they can be more associated with feminine energy rather than a more of a masculine energy that we associate with like powerfulness and doing and that young thing. So each time, each time you like connect to Lemurian energy and Lemurian, you can, I think you can actually hear like crystalline sounds and music.
Hmm.
Their harmony, that they vibrate with the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And and you can also have other species that are high uh, high vibration that they don't have this music, this softness to them.
Did and if they now are we talking about Lemuria on Earth or are we talking about the planet Lemuria?
Oh, just Lemurs in general, because when Lemurs they came to Earth, they were just recreating and planting the seeds of their frequency and their energy on Earth.
Okay, that makes sense. So what goes for one goes for all, basically.
Yeah.
Um, now I know that Atlantis wanted to harness the energy and so was causing harm to the planet. Was Lemuria and Atlantis at war?
So what I'm getting is that Lemurians didn't like how Atlanteans were using the energy, and somehow they were trying to advise them, and somehow Atlanteans didn't like it, and they wanted to do things their own way, and they did it their own way until they kind of broke everything. I think that, I don't know, feels like they, instead of instead of collaborating or learning from the Lemurians, I feel like Atlanteans were more masculine. They wanted to like fight a little bit and they didn't like it, and they want to dominate their own ways of doing things.
That makes sense. That's kind of what I've heard before as well. I just wanted to double confirm. Has any of that cycle of the Lemurian and the Atlantean, uh, that cycle of that karma that happened during that time, is any of that following us into the present moment?
Well, actually, when I was saying that, what came to me was that the minor information was that this is like came to the humanity somehow as a karma, where people, instead of dissolving that ego and that karma, they would go at war at each other, and not, instead of like collaborating and choosing the loving way, they would choose more of the war way, and then it seems like what has been happening and what is still happening right now is that old way of being is being dismantled as we speak. And that energy remains throughout the years on Earth, and it's going away now. Like, because Earth is moving in frequency and all of the other beings and everything that is happening on Earth, this is not supported. So wherever doesn't change and doesn't transmute this ego energy and I am right and all the things my own way, I cannot admit I'm wrong, will disintegrate, and the people who would live in love and peace and collaboration and creation and harmony with all that is, they are the ones that will thrive in the new era.
That's beautiful. I mean, I feel like, can we use our free will to ask for whatever healing can be assisted by the Lemurian and Atlantic collective to that old way, and any of the beings that want to come in and give us healing to that old energy, so that we can, as a collective humanity, move forward in a more harmonious way? Can we ask for that healing?
Yes.
And then
And
just and no.
and also I'm getting so I'm getting that this what we're doing here is a co-creation, and that's the message. It's good for the message to be spread and known, and also used as a healing and tool connecting to all that is. Choosing love, harmony, peace, vulnerability, open heart, connecting with the trees. And this is one tool, a very good tool. I also see having a crystal in the hand, and with the crystal in the hand and connecting to the trees as well. And let the energy work.
Okay.
So one of the main messages from all of this was just remember to connect with the trees and
Okay.
nature. Powerful.
Thank you. Let's see. Is there a connection with Egypt in Lemuria?
So what it feels to me that like Lemurians visited Egypt, and I think at that point in time there were more Atlanteans in Egypt,
Mm-hmm.
but they're very dominant as well, and somehow feels that Lemurians were not always like, it wasn't a co-creation space, that Atlanteans were more dominant. Even though they were interacting, they were not as welcomed, and that Lemurians spend more time in other places and more within the elements. whereas Atlanteans, they built a lot of structures and used them, and Lemurians used the water and the vegetal kingdom as together to work and create, and the crystals. So I feel like the Lemurians, they were more immersed and merged with all of these elements, water and plants and crystals, and Atlanteans were more around Egypt, where they would build structures and use the geometries there and to work with the earth and the grid system and whatever they wanted to do. They also, I'm assuming they also had, feels like the Marines were more, they worked more with people that were interested in the elementals, while the Atlanteans, they were having more of these schools and spaces and other types of like working, and because in the end, what was happening with the earth was a place for co-creation of multiple spaces. It was supposed to be like this really beautiful magical place where all of these aliens from all over the galaxy would come and co-create, and they would mingle with each other to create like a new species of humans on Earth.
Is there any, I know that you've already really shared with us about the trees and crystals and plants and that technology, but is there any remembrance that we need to bring forth to this now moment here on Earth that you can help us with?
So when it comes to the Lemurian energy, what I'm getting from them is that the crystal were used of, I remember, they were used as a communication tool. They were placed in different locations, and they would create this beautiful grid of light and around them. Like, they'll have this space where Lemurian or person, crystal, planet, and plants were very connected. And there was a lot of information exchange between them.
Are there any final messages regarding Lemuria that you want to let us know?
When it comes to them and what they were trying to do on Earth was this beautiful collaboration and just creating high frequency places and magic all around them. So in the end, I guess the message that comes is that when it comes to Lemurians and Earth, because the Lemurians I saw in the previous session in the planet, they were very much energetic. They didn't have the elements that they were on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to being on Earth, it's around using also the elements, the water and the trees and the plants and the flowers to connect with them and to co-create and to learn and exchange information. And I think the idea is that people that are connected to this energy, they can continue doing this work by remembering that is possible, by remembering to go into the nature and take little pieces of crystals, hold them in your hand, on the ground, connect with the ground, keep them in your hand, put it on the tree, connect with the tree, talk with the tree, and just from there, the idea is to let go of any expectations and see what needs to come through.
I love this. And I can't wait to be up in the mountains this weekend and go practice some of that.
And it can also be in the water.
Being in the water.
Yeah, as well. And connect with the water and the rocks in the water.
I want to thank all who came today to help us have this higher perspective and this understanding and give us this great knowledge. From the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate you guys all coming together and helping guide us during this time. And I really do look forward to having more conversations with you guys about Lemuria and about where we're going to explore next. So thank you.
I thank you as well. Yes, I guess it's the collective. We're so happy we could send this message. We're so happy.
Thank you. It brought tears to my eyes. Well, we're sending you all of our love and I hope that we can have this connection with you, even though we're not in a hypnotic state, that throughout our days, that this connection can continue to grow and heighten and enhance between the both of us or anyone else that hears this message.
For sure it will.
Okay. Well, thank you, collective. Thank you for Maja's higher self. You're going to hear a noise right now, and that's okay.